Welcome back to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quatt, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. We are right in the middle. Actually, we're probably a little bit closer to the end. We're closer to the end than the beginning, but nonetheless, right in the middle of our 25 days of Christmas. We've got a three-time guest. I think three times, right, Matt? Three? Yeah.
Yep.
We got Matt Fawcett. How's it going today, man?
Yeah, it's going well, man. How about yourself?
Doing well, doing well. We're feeling unseasonably warm right now.
Yep, I know how that feels. I'm kind of glad for it. But that's also because if it's gonna be cold, it better snow. That's just
Yeah.
and it's not snowing, so it might as well not be cold.
Right. Well, and I was asking, so I work for a TV station, and I was asking our meteorologist, I was like, hey, so, a week, I got to make a drive from here to Chicago. Do I need to be worried about snow or ice or any of that stuff? And he's like, I'll double check, but I don't think so. Like everything is just like super warm right now. So I wouldn't worry about it. And I'm like,
Yep.
sweet. That's what I like to hear. So, so it's not been that long since we've talked. I think from the recording, a little bit less than a month. How's
Mhm.
things been going? Did you get all your songs planned out for 2024?
Yep. So all the songs for 24 are all completely planned out. And the calendar is already printed. So I'm
Mm.
waiting for those to come back in so I can send them out to everybody who bought one. And then I'll still be selling those all throughout next year as well. So if anybody wants to jump in on that, like they'll be available. But yeah, huge project. And it just reminds me so much of how like last year when I did it, I had like a 2 week window to make it happen
Hmm.
and like crushed it, got it done. Like, yes, this is awesome. And this year, I kind of took it for granted. Perfect, like all those Hallmark movies. And so it's kind of funny how the song turned out, because it was literally like the beginning part of it's all serene and beautiful and pretty, and then the second half of it is, you know what, just embrace the chaos that it is, because those are all the moments that we remember anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It almost sounds like you were watching National Lampoons when you wrote
Yeah,
this song.
exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much the flavor of it. Because I told my wife when I was first starting to work on it, I was like, I have an idea for something that's like kind of upbeat and chaotic, and then I have this other one that I really like that's just kind of pretty. I was like, but it either is gonna slant towards the crazy, or I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to like come up with something else to make it all pretty and stuff. She's like, you should make it slant toward crazy. I'm like,
Right,
okay, that sounds good to
right,
me.
fair enough. Because I think some of the all the best Christmas movies are like just lean into the crazy, you know.
Yes.
So
Yep.
why not the Christmas music?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the
So
thing. Is like you listen to Nat King Cole and all these phenomenal artists that we listen to on records. Like, yeah, we all want to sit down, sip a cup of hot cocoa in front of a fireplace while the twinkling Christmas lights are just going, and just stay there, trying to forget that like 12 hours before that, where kids were just screaming and running and breaking ornaments and wreaking havoc. Like, you know what? Like, those are the moments that we remember more than like the serene, just sitting there and relaxing type things. So,
fair, fair, fair. So Christmas Chaos, it's out now.
yep.
When you do the calendar release, do you wait a little bit before you release it publicly? Is that kind of like the perk of the calendar? Is you get a like an early preview?
Yeah. So everybody who gets the calendar on the first of the month,
Hmm.
there's a QR code on that month that they can scan. And they get a week to actually listen to the song, read the lyrics, see any of the music videos, or even some of the merch that's available. It's just available to calendar holders,
Yeah.
and it releases further into the month. So the
Okay.
Christmas one ended up being a little bit less than a week.
Hmm.
But the way I set it up next year is basically it's an entire week from when everybody who gets it with the calendar, and they actually, if the calendar people get to download it. So
Gotcha.
there's actually an MP3 download where they can download it, listen to it wherever they want to or whenever they want to. And then when it releases publicly, that download link goes away. And then all the streaming links come up so people can go to that same page and stream it wherever they want to.
Fair enough. That's cool. That's really cool setup that you got there. And you've kind of cornered, I don't want to say cornered the market, but you kind of got a cool little cool thing going on where it's like, okay, you've found a way to hold yourself accountable. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
as a creative, that's one of the hardest things to do is holding yourself accountable for stuff. Like you could, like you said,
Yep.
if you put a date on your iPhone or whatever, you can move that date and it's kind of it's arbitrary for the most part. But if you hard print it and you sell it to people and say, hey, at this date, we're gonna
Yep.
have something, you're answering more than just you. So
Yep. And honestly, like those are the people I was thinking about when it was getting to be crunch time. I was like, I can't disappoint my fans. Like, yes, they're the fans that didn't buy the calendar. Like, I don't want to disappoint them either. But the ones who
mhm,
bought it, like, they bought on the promise that I would have something to deliver on those days.
yeah,
And so they were the ones I was like, I got to make it good and I got to make it on time. So there were plenty of times where that was really what pushed me to accomplish a lot of that,
yeah,
because I knew like they were going to be expecting it.
yeah. How long or how many years have you been doing the calendar thing?
This was my first year.
Okay.
So the 2023 one was kind of crazy, because once I finished the Christmas Chaos song and like had it all up ready to release, and then it released out to the calendar holders, I was just sitting there like, wow, like I accomplished something. Like I kind of
Yeah.
forgot that, oh yeah, this year's coming to an end. Like I'd been telling people about it, but it was kind of crazy to think like, wow, like 12 brand new songs in 1 year, when before I was releasing like maybe one song once every like 8 or 9 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was very consistent. It's very few and far between. And now there's a ton of songs that are out that I've been getting a lot of compliments from people that are like, oh man, like I absolutely love this song. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot that one existed, because I'm not used to the
Mhm.
as quickly as how many of them are coming out. So
Yeah.
pretty
100% agreed. Understood. And so Christmas Chaos, it's out now on Spotify, all that stuff for people to
yep.
listen to. Did you do any visual components with this, or is it just the song at this point?
It's just a song at this point.
Mm,
Hopefully, there is going to be a official music video that comes out that I'm kind of working with my family. So I've got
mm,
three sisters, um, two of which have kids. One of them is like a couple of months old. The other one
mm.
has two boys that are absolutely amazing. So I'm kind of hoping that we can kind of piece something together here within the next week to be able to
Gotcha.
put as like a visual component to the whole like storyline behind it, because it literally it's a story song. Like the
Hmm.
whole idea, I've got some ideas that I really want to make happen, and it may happen in like version 1 this year to where it'll be like, hey, this is it. But I definitely for sure want to make either a like a really well produced like
Hmm.
storyline thing.
Yeah.
um but yeah, there will be some more visual elements that go along with it for sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Awesome. And so you're in Eastern, are you in Northeastern Indiana or is more?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Northeastern Indiana.
Okay. How's everything been going there? What this year or this winter, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good. It's actually kind of crazy because we've had a lot of the like warmer weather here too,
Hmm.
uh, which I think is for my benefit because I just started like I got a motorcycle last fall
Hmm.
and have been riding around a little bit this summer. But I just got an app that they were doing a it's like a Black Friday thing. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna do a challenge where you have to run or drive 300 miles, and anybody who does above 300 miles, they get into this drawing to win like a cargo system or like some other prizes and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I want to do it. But the challenge is from November 20th to December 20th, which usually in northern Indiana is stupid cold or snowy and just not motorcycling weather whatsoever at all.
Yeah.
And so it's been abnormally warm. And I'm like, sweet, like I can actually do this. So I've been trying to get out on my motorcycle every time I can. The only
Yeah.
problem is like still somewhat cold. Like I drove yesterday and it was like 28 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Out for like 45 minutes. It was still stupid cold. But
Yeah. You're
warm weather's
you're
still here.
you're that guy that's just out on his bike regardless.
Yes. Yeah, I look like the guy who like there's a lot of people who ride scooters up here. So if you get a
Mm.
DUI and you
Yeah.
lose your license, you can't drive a car, but you don't need a license for mopeds.
Yeah.
So I look like one of those guys, except I'm just on a motorcycle instead of a moped. But
That's so funny. I'm so glad that that's a workaround. Like it makes
yeah.
all the sense in the world.
Yep. It's like, hey, you can't drive a car, but you can still hurt yourself on the highway if you want to,
Right.
I guess.
Right. It's like, yeah, jump on a moped on like 65 or something and just
Yeah.
kind of see what happens. You know?
Yeah. Be fine.
Yeah, you'll be all right. Just all right. So
Yeah.
I know that's awesome. Oh, so it, I how many Christmas songs have you released so far? You got Christmas Chaos and then
There's another one called The Greatest Gift, and that one
okay.
came out 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then I did an EP with that song, I think last year, and that had just some Christmas covers in it as well.
Gotcha.
So
Do you see yourself obviously we were kind of joking a little bit earlier with you trying
yeah,
to release a have 25 original Christmas songs, which would be kind of cool, but
yeah.
with Christmas music, you never know, you know. So do you see yourself eventually like doing at least like an original album
Mhm.
or an EP?
Yeah, I would love to, because honestly, like I love this time of year. This is one of my favorite outside of the weather. I
Hmm.
absolutely love Christmas time. It seems like this is kind of stereotypical of like, the Christmas Carol and a lot of other good holiday movies, but it
Hmm.
just seems like there's a little bit more openness to people just having hope towards other
Hmm.
people and other human beings. So I just love that, to where there's a little bit more commonality between just mankind in general. So I love this time of year. I would love to do more Christmas tunes. And that
Fair.
probably, again, the goal with the calendar was to hold me accountable to get like the bare minimum
Hmm.
of songs done for the year. My ultimate hope and goal personally is get those, as many of them as possible, done at the beginning part of the year, so
Hmm.
that I can focus more on doing other projects and EPs and that sort of thing. Because I would love to, have the calendar stuff be like, hey, this is what I'm committing to, this is what's going to happen. And then like on
Yeah.
a random Tuesday in July, just be like, oh, hey, here's an album. Do you guys want more
Yeah.
music now,
Yeah.
today? Because it's here. So I just think that's cool to be able to serve your audience that way and just be like, hey, you love what I write? Cool. Well, here's 12 more tracks that you can just have.
Fair.
So
It almost feels like you've built like like an official unofficial fan club type situation going on, because like
yep.
anybody that gets the calendar, it's like they've got a little inside, and then if you in 2024 if you start like releasing music outside of the
Mhm.
confines of the calendar, then it's like, okay, you're almost building two fan bases. Not saying that they don't intersect or whatever, but
Right.
you got the people that are, you could almost build two fan bases of like, these are my hardcore supporters because they paid for this and they're getting benefits from it. But then you also have music that, yeah.
Yeah.
So yep.
Yep. 100%. And that's the thing. Like people, the music is kind of like what they're getting. Like the thing
Mhm.
that people aim for is the relationship to me, or like for me coming and doing shows and that sort of thing for them. So music is something that all musicians like. It just kind of flows out of us. Like that's the thing that we do. That's on autopilot most of the
Yeah.
time. Because like I remember there was I had to do a report in high school on like a jazz
Yeah.
or whatever, and ended up picking Harry Connick Jr. And he's just a music virtuoso, absolutely incredible. But he was cranking out like 2 to 3 albums a year, and I was like, what? Like, how in the world does this guy have that much music inside of him? Like, that's crazy that he's doing that many projects so quickly. Because his discography is just huge, and they all just came out one right after the other. Like, honestly, like as musicians, like we all have the ability to do that if we choose to. Um, there's always a bunch of things that we have to do. But the more that we can actually like serve our fans and try to give them songs
Mhm.
that actually resonate with them, like, yeah, I mean, because as an independent, like I don't have to worry about putting an album out, do a whole tour cycle on that album, write the next one, then do a tour cycle based off of that one. Like I can put music out as often or
Mhm.
not often as I want to, so long as it's serving my fan base. And then the cool part about that is then basically all your shows become like greatest hit tours. Like, all
Yeah.
right, we'll just do the ones that are most popular that everybody loves, and you know, then just do all those songs.
Yeah. Sure. I've yeah, 100%. So with this being a Christmas podcast,
Mhm.
I have a few very specific questions that I need answers to.
Awesome.
What is your go-to Christmas movie?
Muppet Christmas Carol.
Nobody has ever said that. So
Really?
that is, you win points for
Oh.
being unique.
It's either that one, like I love that one and I cry during it, which is phenomenal. It's either that or Prep and Landing, which a lot of people have never heard before, but it's like a sleeper Disney Pixar
Mhm.
animation one. It's phenomenal. Like there are so many one-line quotes in there that my
Yeah.
family uses throughout the year. But it's
Wait,
funny to me how many people don't know that.
is that the one that's like, it's not quite the Pixar animated style, but it's like a weird mix between like a Disney animation and a Pixar, like it's like a 3D
Yeah.
almost.
Yes.
I've
Yep. And it's
I've not ever
yeah,
seen the movie, but I know what movie you're talking about. So
it's so good.
nice.
So good.
Yeah, the common one we get is Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
That's very iconic. And then we've been getting a lot of Elf, which I guess
Oh,
makes sense. So,
yep. Yeah,
but
no, Muppet Christmas Carol is like, and it's got to be the old version. The new version
mm,
where they took the love song out and put it on the end credits, like, doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
So if somebody gets the DVD, as much as it's going to kill you to not do the widescreen's the one with the weird where they cut a song out. Watch the like
yeah,
four by
yeah.
three version. It's the way
Gotcha.
to
Fair
go.
enough. Now and then just growing up, what's your favorite Christmas memory?
Favorite Christmas memory. It's probably going to be traveling to my grandparents' house,
Mm,
whether it was my dad's parents or my mom's parents. Like I just remember, like we had a lot of great times with family in general. But whenever we were traveling to a grandparent's house, it was always just that anticipation and excitement of being able to see family, and then just like hanging out with everybody. And I love Christmas lights, but we used to. My grandparents lived at the time we were in Ohio, and one set of grandparents lived across town from us, so their trip to them was just driving across town, which is a really small town, and the other one was up in Michigan. It was about
mm,
6 hour drive, and just that drive in and of itself, like seeing everybody else's Christmas lights and that sort of thing, just it's just the embodiment of Christmas to me is seeing everybody's lights and Christmas trees and all that
yeah.
stuff. So,
Man, I thought it was rough making a 2 hour trip to my grandma's house up in Northern Illinois, making a 6 hour trip for Christmas.
oh
Oof,
yeah,
man, I don't know if I could have pulled that. Well, because when we were, there was a certain point there. So how it was when we were really young, we'd stay locally, like we'd go to my dad's family. So it
Mm-hmm.
would be, we'd go do Christmas Eve at my aunt's or at my grandma's, whoever was hosting that year. And, it was local. And then Christmas Day, we'd go out to my mom's parents and they lived 2 hours away. But then there was a point there where everybody was getting older,
Mm-hmm.
where my mom's family started doing something on Christmas Eve, and it was with like her extended family. So my mom had a whole bunch of cousins that she
Yeah.
didn't hardly ever get to see. So she started wanting to go out to her parents' house on Christmas Eve. And so we had to try and figure out a way to do all the trips
Yep.
in
Oh
one.
man.
And it was just like, I just remember a couple of years where we went out to my mom's extended family, and that was like a 4 hour trip.
Yeah.
And that was like Christmas Eve. And then we had to race back and go to my aunt's house.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
so fun.
experience, quite the experience. So, but
Yeah.
uh yeah, so other than that, everything else is good. Are you playing, are you pretty much wrapped with shows for the rest of the year, or where you can?
Yeah. Shows are pretty much done for the rest of the year. Right now it's literally just finishing up the 25 Days of Christmas
Mhm.
YouTube videos that are going out. And then really prepping for next year. So getting all the singles and everything in line for the calendar. And then starting and this won't, like, I'm not doing a ton of things publicly, it's just behind the scenes right now, but starting to do a lot for tour prep and shows for next
Mhm.
year
Nice.
right now before everybody gets busy with Christmas and then New Year's and all that stuff. And there is one show style that I'm super pumped about.
Hmm.
Next year, it's going to be the two-wheeled tour.
Mm.
Um, take my motorcycle, and I have a really cool guitar company called Journey Instruments, and they
Hmm.
make collapsible guitars that fit in a backpack.
Nice.
Um, so that whole thing is I'm just going to jump on my bike with my backpack guitar and just drive to people's houses, and we're going to do like front porch concerts. So they
Nice.
just invite their neighborhood friends, and we'll sing songs for an hour, and then hop on my bike and go to the next one. So
Nice.
uh, there's a lot of prep for that one of figuring like, okay, logistically, like how do I make this work and
Right.
happen and all that stuff. And but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's cool. That sounds fun. When you were saying you were gonna hop on your bike, I was like, oh, is he gonna ride around with the guitar case on his back? Because that sounds like a terrible idea.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's like
you
a
know, it's
huge whip stock just constantly like holding you all the way back.
right. You got the woods, and then you hit a bump, and the wood stock just hits you in the back of the head, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, luckily you're hopefully wearing a helmet. I don't know if Indiana requires it or not, but so. No, that's cool. I'm glad that things are going really well for you this year. I'm glad you hit all 12 of your calendar song. Wow, that sounds really weird to say calendar songs, but
Right.
that's the best way to describe it.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, if anybody wants to check out your music, any of that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah. Be mattfawcettmusic.com is the best place to find me. And you can always join my community. At there should be links and stuff on there. I send
Mm.
out almost daily emails just to encourage people and challenge them and tell them fun stories about my life and what's going on with our family and stuff. So always love being able to play and make music for people. It's the reason why I do it is to comfort the afflicted and confront the comfortable. So would definitely love to have you guys a part of it and be a part of the community because it's a fun group of people that just likes encouraging and hanging out with each other.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate it. And we will catch y'all later.